I'm Eileen McGavery-Kane, and I am full-time faculty in the art department, and I'm the graphic design program coordinator. And I've been at RCC. Actually, I got my associate's degree from RCC, so I've been back and forth, my whole life at RCC, and I've been here full-time for about 6 years. And I teach the digital art classes, a lot of the digital art classes in graphic design. I'll be teaching art history this semester, come from a background of art direction, graphic design, and I do my own personal artwork as well. And I'll hand it over to somebody else. James, you're right below me in the list, so.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm James Lee. I'm the program director for the art department and the communication media arts program at RCC. I've been with RCC for only, I guess, I'm on my second year right now. So I'll be, and we'll be coming into the fall here. So my background is interactive design, graphic design, sequential art, animation, those types of things. Mainly the two main courses I teach are the history of animation and interactive scripting, which is basically game design. So my background's been the last decade or so in and out of different interactive design firms creating interactive experiences for people, VR, AR, augmented reality type of experiences. So I'll pass it to Sarah.
Sure. Hey, I'm Sarah Maisel. I'm the photo program coordinator at Rockland. I've been teaching here at Rockland since 2012, but I've been full-time as the photo coordinator for 2 years now. Before coming to RCC, I held various positions in the photo community and have been building my own fine art photo career. And I work to pass all of my experience on to you students. I'm passing it along to Don.
Hi, my name is Don Iannucci. I'm the fine arts coordinator of the art department. I'm not going to tell you how long I've been here. It's been a long time. Veronica will tell you it's been a long time. And, similar backgrounds. I started out as an adjunct here. I also went to college at RCC. It was a great start. I really loved it. I was happy to come back, and I'm happy to stay for as long as I have. It's been the best job of my life, and I really love it. I'm also a fine artist, and I practice my art regularly. A few years ago, I started venturing into writing, so I now write fiction. Been doing that for maybe the last 15 years. It's fun. If you asked me for one of my stories, I'll probably say no. They're not that good, but they're a lot of fun to write. So I do that. I have like 2 people that I send my stuff out to, and they send me their horrible stuff too. So we commiserate every time we read anything. I had, the opportunity also to be chair of the art department. So did Eileen. So it's nice to have actually a group of us now, Sarah, at some point, All
right. Well,
I teach drawing, I teach painting, I teach printmaking, and also Kung Fu and Tai Chi in the exercise and human performance department.
Thank you, Don. And I'm going to ask people just to make sure the audio stays clean, that if you're not speaking, to mute yourself, and then just unmute yourself when you want to speak. And I see we have a few alum here, so I welcome the alum. Veronica's here, and I just saw Marvin come on, so I'm really excited. And our plan for tonight, I'm going to share my screen. We have some information to give you, and then we have some time at the end for questions, but I also want to give you a chance to ask. To me, the student voices and to get to hear from students who are in our art department is invaluable. So we have a couple of those alum here that we want to see if you have questions for, and see if they can tell us about their experiences. So welcome. Thanks, you guys, for hopping on this call. And thanks to everyone for coming. All right, so I'm going to present and... Okay, so you guys, I am assuming that you see it, my screen. We have RCC Art, Start Here, Go Anywhere. And I'm going to just kind of take you through this. We already did our introduction, so we're already there. We have some student work that we wanted to show you, so we were going to start with that. So we have some photography over here on the left. We have some drawing. I think that's a painting in the middle, either pencil work or a painting. I think it might be pencil work. It's beautiful, by Victoria. And then graphic design. It's actually a typographic portrait by a former student, Brian Segovia. And a little bit more, we have some photography, painting, some more photography. And this is some 2D design over here on the left. On the right, we have typography. That was hand lettering. You know, we do typography as a digital class, but we welcome hand lettering as well. And we have a project and assignment on that. A little bit of animation. This is from motion graphics class, song intonation by Marcella, and another one. Same project. It was just a very intro project, but they did a great job with it. And this is a digital Trump Loyal from one of James's classes, done in Illustrator, Adobe Illustrator. And this was done in Art 195, which is an intro class. This is a student showcase. A lot of our student work gets sent for exhibition as well as competition. And the artwork that's featured here, they've all been award-winning artworks that have won either, you know, best of show in various categories through SUNY. And in the art department, we have 3 different programs. We have fine arts, we have photography, and we have graphic design. And graphic design now has 2 tracks. It has visual communication, and it has animation and interactive media. And we're going to let each program coordinator talk about the programs. So I'm going to just talk a little bit about the opportunities that we have at RCC. So we help you with portfolio prep. We love to have projects with service and applied learning. I know Marvin's on this call. He's definitely been involved in those, as well as COIL. Impulse Magazine is the student literary magazine that students, where their artwork is featured along with student writing, and students design it. We have internships with strategic marketing right on campus. We've had several of our students work with strategic marketing, and they're paid positions. As I mentioned, we have exhibitions. We have them at RCC, and we also, students participate, you know, statewide and often nationally. Their work has been sent down to Washington, D.C. to be exhibited. Networking opportunities, you know, your professors, anybody we can introduce you to. We'll love to take students to meet with professionals in the field. And mentors, you know, your faculty will serve as mentors to you as well. Transfer opportunities. So, you know, many students come to RCC as, you know, start here, go anywhere. So they come to RCC. It's an affordable place to prepare your portfolio, network, and then our students transfer to 4-year schools that they're choosing near and far. So these are just some of the schools of where our students have transferred. Benefits of our art department. We have small class sizes. Faculty are made up of professionals and experts with years of experience in their field of study. You just heard from some of us. You know, we have many more faculty who are experts in their fields. Advisors who work closely with you. You know, you're talking to your art advisors here on this call. And we have a very strong, wonderful advisement department at RCC as well. Affordable. Many remote classes for fall 2020, so you can earn transferable college credit from home. And we do have some classes being offered on the main campus. The ones that are being offered on the main campus are socially distanced. The classrooms are all being set up to make sure that the workspace is separated, and safety standards include mandatory face masks. All right, Don, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yes. So in fine arts, these are some of the courses that we offer. We offer your figure drawing, figure painting, 2D design, 3D design, printmaking, digital art, and we have some elective courses. The most popular one seems to be ceramics. Our career paths are definitely education, both in all areas of education, illustration, gallery directors, studio managers, advertising, marketing, graphic design, art restoration, storyboard artists is an exciting field. Most movies tend to get made by people sitting down and making tons and tons and tons of drawing, which also means that that's how animated movies are also made too. Graphic novelists, teaching assistants, art therapy, an upcoming field, definitely an animator, and at camps and art camps and art camp directors, art centers, courtroom artists, portrait artists, and cartoonists.
All right, and I'm going to take you to the next one. Do you want to talk a bit about this artwork, Don?
Yes. Mikkel Gillian did the first figure drawing. It's a beautiful example of perspective drawing. It's really beautifully made. It's a remarkable anatomical study. The second one is mostly just capturing a quick gesture in a movement, which is done very quickly and done very beautifully in this example.
Okay, thank you. And I'm going to turn it over to Sarah.
Let me unmute myself. All right, so in our photography program, we offer both a foundation in the fundamentals of photography starting in the darkroom, but our goal is also to help you learn more about digital photography, about emerging technologies in photography, with the goal really being to come out of the program career ready. So we start with Black and White Photography 1, which is traditionally a darkroom class, but thanks to COVID, we have had to revise that. So for this fall, in order to keep everyone safe, both students and faculty, we will be offering Black and White Photo 1 as a remote course using your smartphones for the majority of your shooting assignments. We will have a small portion using film, and we still will be able to make prints. But for the fall, it will be a little differently taught than we normally do. We also offer color photography 1 and 2. Black and White Photography 2 is also an advanced course in the darkroom. We have alternative processes, which means that you're incorporating media, using installation art, putting photographic materials on 3-dimensional objects. We also have a brand new course called Mobile Media Making, where you're using your smartphone to make pieces that incorporate still photography, video, audio, and making multimedia pieces that you can share online, digital art, and more. Career paths include photojournalist, photo editor, artist, producer, studio manager. And I'm going to stop myself here and say a lot of these career options, you may not know what those are yet. And what we want to teach you is what those different options are. If you have a major in photography, your only option isn't just to be a photographer. There are many other career options that I look forward to teaching you more about. Others include digital photo tech, visual brand marketing. Pretty much every single company out there is looking for someone to run their social media accounts who's visually literate and savvy at creating content. Fashion photographer, advertising, marketing, scientific and forensic photographer. Photo researcher are the people who look up photos from archives to run in different publications. Let's see, photo agent, stylist, studio equipment tech, darkroom tech, photo instructor, portrait photographer, wedding, event photographer, editorial photographer, social media influencer, videographer, photography, art critic, writer, director of photography, cinematographer, and creative director. So many fields are open to you with a photo degree, but it starts with learning the medium and understanding the medium and talking about the medium in our courses. One other course I didn't have listed here is the history of photography, where we talk not just about the evolution of the medium, but also about the evolution of the ethics involved and creating a more inclusive history of photography. So I will pass it along at that.
All right, well, I think, Sarah, you can talk about some of your students.
Right. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, okay.
So I'm going to brag about 2 students right now, both of whom I'm very happy to have had in my classes. Michael Santiago was my student in my very first class at RCC as an adjunct. And he is currently a staff news photojournalist with Getty Images. And after being at RCC, he transferred to the San Francisco Art Institute and then earned his master's from the Cy Newhouse School of Public Communications at Syracuse University. And when he graduated, his first job out of his grad program was working for the Pittsburgh Gazette, where he was part of the news team that won the Pulitzer Prize for breaking news reporting in 2019. So he is someone that is an incredible photographer, a great person to follow on social media. I included his website here. And we're also very lucky to have a second alum joining us, Veronica Murphy. So Veronica, I'm going to brag about you very quickly. And then if you don't mind giving us some words about your experience at RCC. Veronica was my student for like 3 years, and it was a great experience of finding a story that was personal to her, that was about her life, and creating this long-term photo project based on it. Veronica is currently working as the digital organizer and archive manager at the Edward Hopper House in Nyack, New York. She transferred from RCC to Purdue, where she earned her BA in photography and media art. And then she went right on to get her master's in art history and museum curation at SUNY Purchase. While she was at RCC, as I said, she completed a 3-year photo project that involved the themes of identity, religion, and family, titled Apostate, which she turned into a self-published photo book that you can see there. And images from this work have been exhibited across the US. It was part of Best of SUNY shows. It's still currently on display on campus in our atrium as part of our alumni photo show. And so Veronica, can you give us a few words? And thank you so much for being here and offering your time, and tell us about RCC.
Sure. First of all, I hope everybody can hear me well. I never know how my microphone's going to be.
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
I loved my time at RCC. I was one of those students that I kind of showed up with my tail between my legs. I didn't know what I wanted to do in my life. I had no direction. I just knew I was so hard to figure it out. And I came to RCC like very distraught. And I took a couple of photo classes, and I took, a class with Don. I took classes with John and Lily, and I just fell in love with my time at RCC. I really spent so much time exploring who I was. And I didn't really have grades and motivation to go onto any schooling. I didn't even want to go to RCC in the first place. And then when I got there, I realized the only thing I can't do is anything I tell myself I couldn't do. So I ended up, through my experiences with like all of the staff there, really learning how much I was holding myself back, just being nervous. And one of the first steps was looking at Sarah on my first project in her Color 1 class and saying, I have this really kooky idea. I don't know if it's too weird. I kind of was a Jehovah's Witness for a couple of years, and I think that would be really cool to explore. And she just said, well, if that's what you want to explore, then that's what we're going to do. And that was 3 years of wonderful self-exploration. And when I ended up going to a Big Ten university, which I never thought I could do in my life, I remember saying to my mom on my graduation day, RCC got me here. And that's a true story, is I really do attribute so much of not only my bachelor's degree, but my master's degree and soon to be my PhD to that community college I was so scared to go to because I didn't think I could do it. And now I run an archive, and I realized I love art history thanks to Lena, so it was the most wonderful decision I ever made because I really got to know who I was there. I got to learn all these things I didn't know I loved. And it's become one of the most tremendous parts of my life. I'm so thankful for RCC and everything you all did for me.
Oh, well, thank you, Veronica. That's really great for us to hear. Yeah, thank you. And at the end, if students have questions for you, we'll let them ask you, okay? Thanks a lot. All right, and that brings us to graphic design, visual communication track. Courses include graphic design, typography, web design, 2D design, 3D design, animation, digital art, and more. All of our art majors offer a foundation program. So the courses like 2D design and 3D design and digital art, all art majors take them. And then you get into, graphic design, typography, and web design are all specific to the graphic design major. Career paths, advertising, marketing, project manager, art direction, motion graphics, animation, interaction design, user experience, information graphics, user interface design, web design, product design, branding, creative director, photography, and fine artist. I always tell students, graphic design, where however people receive information, you're going to find a graphic designer involved in that, and sometimes students will come into a beginning art class and say, well, they want to design books, which they very well may, but you also want to consider online books because, my career has been long, and one of the things I've liked about it the most is that it constantly changed. What I learned when I went to school, the basic principles are the same of design, but the tools have all changed and evolved, and I have never been bored. It's just always been so exciting. James was just talking about AR, VR. I'll tell students if I was starting out now, that would be where I would go, because that is new experiences, and I would love to work in that area. And I have one student spotlight. Now that Marvin's on this call, Marvin, I feel, excuse me, I feel bad I don't have your work up here, but I was going for alumni, and you are an alumni of the program, but I know you're still at RCC. But at the end, maybe I can show people your Instagram feed, which is phenomenal. So this is Student Spotlight, and I did invite Andrew. Andrew, did you join the call? I don't think he did. I just sent it out today. But if he was here, I'd have him speak. So Andrew, let's see, he was an alum, I think around 2016, maybe around the same time as Veronica. And he transferred to School of Visual Arts, and he just graduated this past May. So he probably graduated 2017 from RCC. And he got his BA in illustration. And this is actually a personal project of something he's working on called Skybound. And he, right after graduation, or I think even before he graduated, he got hired by Pencilmation, which does a YouTube series, and he's a background artist. So he's doing great. And his work, he was like Marvin, some students, their work is so wonderful that we have exhibits devoted to them on campus, a solo exhibit. Andrew, he actually did it was himself and another student that year, Adam, who did an exhibit of their work. And this is wonderful, but to see the growth is always what's so exciting to me. And James, I'm going to let you talk about the Animation Interactive Media Track.
Sure. So we do with the interactive media, or I'm sorry, with the animation, we teach all the sequence, the idea of moving up an image from one position to another, keyframing, all the things that that you would have seen in traditional 2D animation, and how we're working with it in 3D animation now. I mean, if you think back at all the Disney movies, the most recent ones have all been 3D animation. The big movies, the big cartoon shows or animations that are available now are all in that 3D animation realm. But also video game design, concept art in that field, information graphics, they all use 3D style animation. or 3D programs rather to render them. This is also where you get the motion graphics, like if you've ever seen on the news, for example, they'll have like some kind of animated thing happening in the background. That's a animation person doing that. But the part where I'm part of is the scripting, interactive scripting, interactive design, and that's the idea of user interface and being able to interact with a person, not just a static, ad that you look in a magazine. This is where you would click on something and it responds to what you're doing. Displays in museums, for example, if you've seen modern museum displays where you can tap on different information and it'll bring up a new experience for you. And so the career paths here are great. You got the game design, the motion graphics, interactive design, storyboard artists. There's a great field there, not just for telling stories in animation in movies or TV shows, but also in the corporate world. That's a majority of my storyboard experience came from telling stories for a client. They needed to know how an experience was going to happen. We could describe it to them all day, or we could show them a series of images that showed it in action. So those are all other kinds of ways that this track works. We got the entertainment, television. I mentioned user experience. Product design. This is an interesting one too. When I was in undergrad, product design was physical. Like you had to actually physically cut the boxes out and put them together. But now with 3D graphics like Maya and SketchUp and things like that, you can create that product virtually and show the product that way and really demonstrate those types of things. And of course, once you know how to put those things together, you can be the project manager, you can be the art director, because if you've got that translation in your head of how how a programmer works and how the artist works, you can communicate between the two of them. And it's a really great space for that kind of thing.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
All right, and I have a couple of student spotlights because one of the things I wanted to mention is our animation track is pretty new. So 2019 was actually the first year anybody graduated from it. And both of these students graduated with that new track. These are just some that they did in their 3D. They did these in Maya. So character rigging and I love this one by Elaine. So Romello transferred to New York Institute of Technology for animation, and Lane transferred to Mercy College for animation. And both of them actually were our student workers too, so we miss them a lot. And now I believe we have questions. So what I'll do is I'll stop the sharing, and that way we can see some faces and see if people have questions. And let's see. Yeah, do you have any questions? And then I may ask Marvin if he wants to talk about his experience at RCC, if he's willing.
Sure.
Hey, Marvin.
Hey.
Did you enjoy? I'll ask you some questions. What was your favorite part about the art program at RCC?
Before I studied with the art program, I was like kind of lost. Because since I was an international student, so I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. But when I first saw that I could do, because my first passion was art, but I studied accounting. Then when I studied, and I was like, wow. I studied with 2D design. I took printing, 3D printing, and I was like, wow, I can really what I loved about RCC was like the diversity and different classes I could take. Like I remember when I was taking accounting, I did take some different categories and art, like 2D design, 3D design, printing, print making. That's the one that I remember I took with along with 2D design. Then the long way I was like, this is it. This is what I have to do. This is what I have to take. So I switched from accounting to graphic design, and then from there, um, I mean, everything was clearer now.
Yeah.
So
Did Marvin, you
mhm.
were in a lot of my classes and you got to participate in service learning as well as COIL. Did you like those experiences?
I did, especially with. I mean, the coil was first thing for me because I never like did something like that before, but I kind of liked it because not only it prepared me also when you want to have let's say you have a client like on the outside, because when I was doing coil I did had some clients that wanted to do a book illustration, so it also prepared me with the communication, like people like I had a client from China, I think. So we had different time when we had to discuss what we wanted, what we wanted to be done. And then with the coil project I feel like it was like a real thing for me.
Yeah. And you know what? I'll just add, because I didn't really explain that to people. COIL is Collaborative Online International Learning. And the project that Marvin was involved with, we partnered with a global branding class in the Netherlands. And they gave the graphic design students a communication brief, and they had to do branding. And Marvin, and on our end, we had teams, and I think you guys had M&Ms, right?
Yes,
Did you guys have M&Ms? Yeah, yeah. They did a wonderful job with creating. They had to create a whole new brand strategy campaign for M&Ms, and yeah, you guys did a great job.
yeah, that
Yeah,
was also the first thing I really learned about graphic design, because I thought graphic design was just about creating graphics, but it was not just that. Was also um create a brand identity. So
yeah,
yeah, that was my first thing.
yeah, and learning about all the work that goes into preparing to deal with your client as well.
Yeah,
So yeah, thank you, Marvin.
no problem.
Does any of our guests have any questions? And if you do, you can unmute yourself. Just hit the microphone. We do have a chat. Let me see if I have any. Yeah, no, nothing in the chat. The other thing, the service learning, so COIL is Collaborative Online International Learning, and service and applied learning can be when you partner with a group, could be a service group. And graphic design class always works with the president of the college. We do the holiday greeting. I don't know, Marvin, if you were, I think you were in the spring class, so you probably didn't do that one. Um, and we had an event where we partnered with Rockland County Mental Health Association, and we worked on suicide prevention awareness campaign. And the student who actually was selected, her work was actually printed and was on the buses all throughout Rockland County. So, not only is it great experience, it's great work to put in your portfolio. And I think Marvin, you had some wonderful work from the class that you could put in your portfolio as well.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And when we are able to, we take field trips. Marvin, which field trips? I know you were on that very first one when we went to the animation studio.
And also with the one with when we went to see Milton Glaser.
Oh, yes, yes.
I remember
Yeah.
that one.
That was epic. Yeah. Yeah.
With the
Eileen, can you also talk a little bit about Impulse?
Sure. Impulse is the student visual and literary magazine. And Impulse is produced, we tried to go back into the archives, and it's probably almost as old as the college. Uh, Honestly, I found an issue. I actually had the cover of Impulse back in the 80s when I was a student at RCC. My artwork was on the cover, so it goes way back. So the art is all student art, and we have photography, we have the painting, the drawing, the graphic design. Students submit their work, and then it's a juried, not every work that gets submitted gets selected, because the people who are in Impulse Club, they do the editing, they do the selection of the artwork, the art direction, and then we actually, have a team of designers who do they come up with the theme for Impulse, and do that with it. Yeah, so it's a lot of fun, it's a lot of work, but it's a great experience. I know we had a student, Emma, who, when I went to portfolio night, so one of the things we do with students is, when they have portfolio night, which they often do at WCC, probably get canceled this year, we'll take a van and as many students. Marvin, you were in one of those, I know for sure. We went over there, and they will meet with college reps. And Emma was the art director and designer of Impulse magazine, so she brought the copies of Impulse with her, and it was just, the reps, their mouths would drop open because they were so impressed. And I want to say that was her kind of ticket to, get into the school where she wanted to go, but she had other good work as well. But Impulse definitely was, gave her an edge. Yep. Yeah, and it's a way, so a lot of Impulse is photography. So students have published work, they can get a copy of Impulse, and it's, a real professionally produced magazine, and they can say they were published and they have this work in this book, and they were published.
The thing I like most about Impulse is certainly the quality of the work, but it's all inclusive for the art department. It has this nice sense of, it brings in graphic design. Of course, it's, its major focus is to help create and design a magazine, from, the look of the cover to the look of all the pages. But the content is really all RCC, all RCC art department in terms of the artwork. And it always seems to be a great balance between all our degrees. And, there's some writing and poetry and stuff, but I'm so proud of the work that gets published in that magazine. It's such a great thing to have. And we will send you copies if you want them.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
I just wanted to add to that, when you're starting out as an artist, building your artist resume, it's really hard to seek out those opportunities and know what to do and how to get your work out there and how to find an audience. And having your work in Impulse and in exhibitions through SUNY, through RCC on campus is such a great learning experience, and helps you build that artist resume so that you can start to build an audience and then expand your sites beyond RCC to know how to prepare your file for publication, how to prepare your artwork for exhibition. All of those skills we try to give you some experience in so that you can grow in your own careers outside of RCC.
One of the things we haven't mentioned is also, and I love the fact that Veronica talked about art history and her love of art history, because we always feel in the art department that a good foundation in art history is very important. That way you're part of the communication. You're part of the dialogue. That started 28,000 years ago and it's continuing on to this day. That's, I think, has been a really strong strength of our department. The other is that we do offer a careers in art class. So if you're really not sure of what you want, this is a great way to meet working artists in many different fields, so that you actually get to hear and see, how they figured out, how they're making a living as an artist. That course, I think, is also vital for helping students kind of work it out and feel it out.
Yeah, absolutely. I just put Marvin's Instagram feed in there because, Marvin, you just have so much wonderful work, and you've grown as an artist with your digital illustration skills. Yeah. So, yes, and we have Veronica's in here. So, yes, guests, please take a look and take a look at some of the work that we have to show you from our students. Yeah. Do we have any other questions or anything anybody else wants to talk about?
I think since we aren't on campus, maybe giving a little bit of a layout of what sort of facilities we have to offer might be helpful. So I'll start with photo. I'll try to add in what I know, but please feel free to interrupt me if I'm forgetting anything.
Sure.
So we have our traditional black and white darkroom. We have a Mac lab with high-end Epson printers that we use for both the digital art classes, for graphic design classes, for color photography, for animation. We have a painting studio, a drawing studio where they have models that come in for figure drawing. There's a printmaking studio. Help me out here. What am I forgetting?
We have a ceramic studio,
ceramic studio,
a 3D design studio, a digital art studio. But also, it's important to mention that we also have 2 student resource rooms.
Right.
You know, if you need help in visual communication, we have a resource room for that. If you need help in animation, we have a resource room for that. So, and we also have a student gallery,
Right.
which we highlight and have shows of students' work in there. And it's always wonderful to come upstairs and see all this beautiful artwork from all our students.
And so for this fall semester, with all that is going on with COVID, we're trying to offer many classes remotely when it's impossible to teach the class socially distanced with a smaller class number. But when it's necessary, like in figure drawing, to be in person for that instruction, we're working with the CDC guidelines to spread people out, to mandate masks, to only offer the classes in person that we think we can do so safely.
Which usually means that it's 50% less enrollment. So there's a lot of distance between the desks and students, which makes it all possible.
And with the digital art classes being offered remotely, one of the, I guess you could call it a perk, students will get access to the Adobe Creative Cloud, you know, the entire Adobe Creative Suite. And I know when I taught classes on campus, students would often complain that, you know, they didn't have the software at home to do their homework. Well, they will have access to the software at home. And that will be Maya if they take the 3D animation and any of the digital art, any, you know, whatever software they need for the class that they're taking. And RCC is offering a student laptop loan program as well. So if students don't have the hardware equipment, they can apply to get a laptop. And I know in the spring when we had to quickly go remote, I had a number of students who needed to take advantage of this, and you know, they got mailed the laptop, and the programs were installed, and it all worked smoothly. We also had tutoring available in the spring. Hopefully, I think in the fall we'll have the same thing. The tutors were available online. They worked remotely, and students could just jump on Zoom with them and make appointments with them. And they also have tutoring available through our tutoring center for a lot of the software as well. So there's a lot of ways to get help if you need it.
I just wanted to say one other thing, because I noticed that both Marvin and Veronica mentioned feeling a little lost and like you didn't know at first what you wanted to do. And I think that is something almost all students coming into college feel, this like sort of paralyzing fear of not knowing what they want their career path to be. And I think often you're getting pressure from parents that a career in the arts might not be the most financially secure option. I know my parents were not super thrilled with their daughter from Texas wanting to move to New York to become a photographer. And it took a lot of convincing. So I think, one of the nice things about Rockland is that if you're feeling that way or your family's giving you pressure, it's somewhere close to home, it's affordable, and it gives you a chance to kind of dip your toe in the waters and use the resources of your teachers to start to find your focus. And I think, Veronica, I will single you out because you're here, and thank you again for being here. But seeing how you evolved from the first time you were my student to what you've accomplished since then is like such a dream story as an instructor. But it's a really good example, I think, to anyone that feels like they don't know what they want to do, that it's in the act of doing and learning and just trying it out that you find that focus.
I would actually love to piggyback off that just for a second to say that I would have been a photo major if I didn't try that. The first person to ever ask me why I didn't major in photography was John Schlesinger. And he said, you took a lot of photo classes. Why isn't it your major? And I ended up majoring in photography because I didn't have an answer for him. I didn't know why I wasn't a major. And so many jobs love that I have a degree in photography because their first thought is you're going to be an exemplary resource. And the job I applied for had nothing to do with it. But there are so many things you can try and build on your resume as a skill set that you now have, because it's so easy to try things at RCC. It's not, this crazy amount of money per class. There's not that pressure. I tried printmaking because of it, and now I try to do it sometimes in my spare time. And Don, I know you still have my best versions, and you won't give them back.
I have them all. I sold them on eBay.
They're on your wall, I'm sure of it. But really, it's the best because it's so low pressure, and there are so many skill sets. Thank you, community college, that I have now because my jobs love that I have them. I've gotten so many more opportunities because of it, and because I'm so comfortable trying new things also as a result of the culture at RCC. It's kind of a why can't you do that culture, as opposed to big universities where it's really a lot of pressure to have a strict direction. And that's a very daunting question when you're just kind of graduating high school and all you know is you had a really great time with your friends and now things are going to get crazy fast and life is on your doorstep. It's a lot, and RCC takes a lot of that pressure off.
Nicely said.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, we are at almost at 6:50, and we're happy to answer more questions, but otherwise we'll probably close it. Anyone else have anything they want to ask or add?
Maybe we should just put our emails in the chat in case people have questions later. I'm going to just add mine.
Sure.
Wants to get in touch or ask questions later, something comes to you later, feel free to reach out.
Absolutely. And Marvin knows where to find me. So, and follow him on Instagram. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. So, yeah. Okay. We have Don's. All right. So, I think we'll probably end it unless anybody has anything else. I want to thank you all for joining us this evening on this hot summer evening, and yeah, be well, stay cool, and feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Happy to answer anything. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Okay. All right. Thanks, folks. So be well. Bye-bye.